Welcome back to Sway TV. I'm your host JJ here on Amazon Live, and I'm so excited!
We're gonna have some fun on the stream.
What do we do here on Sway TV? We shop.
Here we go.
Get curious! Get curious!
So many giveaways here at Sway TV. I'm ready to battle shop live. Yeah!
This is fun.
And one person's gonna win a PS5. Which one will it be?
Everyone is holding their breath.
I have our winner.
I'm so excited, I can't even stand it. I cannot make this up.
We are awarding you with the PS5 as well.
6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Amazon Live! Woo!
I've had such a great time with all of you.
Shop attainment all the time.
We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway!
Let's sway!
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway, stay tuned! Woo! Good morning, everybody. I'm Marissa Gold. I'm here on The Art of Parenting on Sway TV on Amazon Live. Welcome. It is Tuesday morning here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. I am in the Sway studio. We are COVID friendly. We are COVID safe. And I have also fortunately been vaccinated. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy to have you here. It is Tuesday morning. It is April 6th. Happy Easter, happy Passover, whatever you have been celebrating. Are you on spring break with your kids? Woohoo! More time with family. I think everyone is probably like pulling their hair out after this year and thinking like, I don't know that I necessarily need more time with my family, but you got it, okay? We're not going away. So I have such a fun show today. I have not been here for the last couple of weeks. I have really, really missed you. Thank you so much for joining me. It's so great to have you here. Today we are going to be talking on the art of parenting, all about bringing fun back into the home. Now, here's why we're doing this. Okay, if you are a Netflix watcher, which I think because of COVID, we are all Netflix watchers. One of their top movies right now is called The Yes Day, and it's based on a book, which I love, and it is starring Jennifer Garner, who is one of my favorite mom actresses. I would love to have her come on my show. So Jennifer Garner, if you're watching, I would love to interview you. And we are... in my home, I watched the movie, my girls watched the movie. It was so fun. One of the reasons why I think this movie was so fun and has been so well received is because we all crave really just having fun. And sometimes we get so stuck in what has to get done, whether it is the errands we have to run, the schlepping the kids to and from, the house, all the things in the house that we have to do, whether it's laundry or dealing with the animals or taking the garbage out. There is always so much that we have to do. And so one of the things that I really think is really just so important for us as parents to remember to always be trying to bring fun back into our lives, not just our lives, but the lives of our children. So I also want to say, Rosalinda, it's so good to see you. Welcome back to my show. I'm so happy to have you here with me. And it is so nice to just have you here and to be back on this beautiful Tuesday morning. And I'm just so happy you're here joining me. So hopefully we'll get more people that will talk to us about what's going on with them from a parenting perspective. We're talking today all about fun. Hello, Lexi. Welcome to the show, and thank you for hanging out with us. It's so great to have you. Today we are talking all about bringing fun into our home and how to do that with our kids. But I know I haven't seen you also, Rosalinda. I haven't been here. So I was gone for 2 weeks. It was my kids' spring break, and being the parenting expert, and I felt like I really just needed to take some time and be with my family, because guess what? My kids are going back to school finally. I'm so excited. And really I'm excited, but they are so excited. They're so excited to be going back to school, and I'm so grateful for the teachers and the doctors and the administrators and everyone who has worked so hard to get our kids back to school. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are going to be talking today all about how to bring happiness into our home. But before we do that, I want to share with you, what are some things that I do to really set my intention for the show, to set my intention for the day, to really get my mind in the right frame of mind, to get my body, rather, in the right frame of mind to have the best possible day. So again, thank you so much for being here with me. Again, my name is Marissa Gold. This is The Art of Parenting on Sway TV on Amazon Live. Thank you for joining us. It's so great to have you here. So, okay, a couple things. First of all, I'm back to drinking coffee. If you have been following along with me, you know that I tried to drop the coffee in the morning. I tried. I'm a working mom. Give me a break. I gotta. Yes, Laura, agreed. Gotta have the morning coffee, right? But I'm down to 1 latte a day, and I make it myself. So I do feel like I am saving money because I have my awesome Nespresso machine and I have my cool cups that I put it in. So it feels very, oh my gosh, you've tried matcha. You know what is so funny about that, Laura? My girls are obsessed with matcha, and I can't get myself there. I really just love my Nespresso lattes. I agree. Nespresso is the best. It's super easy, and it is just, I don't know. There's just something about waking up, having my latte, sticking it in one of my one of the cups that I really love. And you all know, for those of you that have been watching, I have lots of different cups that I really love. So I don't know, Laura, maybe my girls really want me to try matcha. So maybe for them, I will do it. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Rosalinda, I didn't see your podcast with the beautiful Eden Sassoon. However, I heard about it because I've been with my kids on their spring break and very focused and tried to be very much just in the moment with them. So I really, truly have not been online that much, if you can believe it. But stand by. We're going to take a look at it. Ready? No, we're not ready. Okay, but we're going to take a look at it because I heard it was awesome. So stand by for that.
Highlights with sound.
What?
Find highlights with sound on there. Don't talk about it.
Okay. Let's see. We are queuing it up. While we're queuing it up,
Highlights with sound.
let's see. While we're queuing up
Scroll down.
while we're queuing this up, Rosalinda, so that we can see it, I also wanted to share with everybody that, okay, here we've got it. Stand by.
Rosalinda?
Is this Eden Sassoon?
It is Eden Sassoon. Is this Rosalinda?
Oh my goodness, yes it is.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
Good, how are you? I can't believe I'm talking to a celebrity.
Oh, but what's your favorite, or what is it about Sway TV that you love?
Well, I say Sway TV is amazing community.
Thank you.
Everybody is welcoming. It's just a nice, safe place to, just hang out and shop while you're hanging out.
So who are your favorite Sway hosts? And we're all on the phone right now, so I did that.
Well, you know what? I love every host, to be honest. It's crazy because me and you don't even know each other. And look how long we've been on the phone. Just like, I feel like I've known you forever.
Forever.
And I wish the whole world was like this community that Sway TV and all the amazing live streamers have on Amazon. And like I said, I never knew about the live streams up until I clicked, and Sway TV was the very first
one you clicked
live stream. So not even me watching you guys have even reached out to all 6 of my kids because they're in tune to watching Sway TV. I mean, you know the commercials that producer Andy, you guys have an intro and an outro?
Yeah.
She has her own little dance.
Aww.
And this is the 2-year-old. And she's always saying, let's sway.
Let's sway. That is so cute, Rosalind. That is the cutest thing ever, that your daughter has a little sway dance. I want to see that. That's awesome. So I wanted to also share with you, Laura, I don't know if you have seen these cups on Amazon. These are the simple, modern, classic insulated tumblers. Here, I'm going to show you. This is what it looks like. But for anyone who needs like a great mug or something for on the go, this is my absolute favorite. The reason why I like this so much is because, and I'm going to pull this up, it comes with these 2 different lids. So you can have a hot drink, you can have a cold drink, you can drink it like it's coffee. It comes with a straw lid as well. And it's just like an awesome, awesome travel mug. And then the coolest thing is it comes in like all of these different designs. So whether you're like a design person or whether you're a, just straight color person, like based on your aesthetics, what you like, you can pick what you want. But anyways, I just wanted to share this with you, Laura and Rosalinda, because this is my favorite mug. And so I'm back to drinking my latte. So yes, that has happened. But look, I am double fisting with my water and my latte. Look, here we go. You can see both. There we go. I've got my latte. I've got my water. I need like a reusable. I usually do have a reusable cup for my water. I just, honestly, I was rushing out of my house this morning and I didn't bring it. So, okay. So anyway, so I have my latte. The other thing that I do is in my shower in the morning, I'm looking around because I want to show you these products and they're around me on the couch here. So I have a couple of different things that I use. So one, I use these pure essential oils and I try to pick scents that are really invigorating. And so this one is eucalyptus and it just opens up my, all the pathways up here so that I can really breathe. And it just like completely wakes me up. So I actually, before I even have my morning latte, I do that and it really just wakes me up. I really love it. And then the other thing that I do every morning, I guess I'm kind of having this aha moment on the couch right now. I guess I'm actually really into smell. Like now that I'm thinking about it, like it's really a part of like my routine. And yes, Rosalinda, look what I have right here. I love that you said that because you know me so well. And here is my my favorite lotion. It's like with the funky spelling of the name, but it's an LA-based company and it's Way. And I love it because it is so natural. It smells so good. And I didn't get to put any on. I never put any on. Actually, the mornings that I come here, I don't put it on in the shower when I get out of the shower because I just figure I'll put it on here. So I'm going to my hands are super dry because they're always dry because of all of the sanitizing and the hand washing, which I hope you're still doing. And, all the stuff we're doing to keep ourselves healthy. So, in the morning, what I do, I do not shower at Sway TV. I shower at home. We do not have a shower in the studio. Sorry, that is not the kind of show that we are. We are live, however, and I just got this lotion all over me, which is a bummer. So I'm just gonna clean that up. There we go. So yeah, okay. So yeah, no showers here. Ha 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 ha. That's a different show, different channel. Okay, so put my rings back on so I don't lose them. And we're gonna go back here. So, right, okay. So yes, so I got myself ready. I've got my lotion on, I've got my water, I've got my latte. and I want to talk to you all about fun. Now, I want to say that one of the most important things about bringing fun into the home is, as a parent, you're not going to be able to be in the moment and have fun with your let's weigh. That's right, Rosalinda. Let's weigh instead of sway. We're going to weigh. Because in the shower, when I do take showers, they have their other product, which is so amazing, that I really love. And that is the Ouai Body Cleanser, which I do use in the shower. But when I'm out of the shower, I use the lotion. Okay, so as a parent wanting to bring fun into the home, I think that it's kind of challenging if you know you have this like to-do list in your mind of all these different things that have to get done, right? And so one of the things that really helps me with that is being prepared and having a routine, right? So being prepared, that's like a massive category, which we're gonna talk about in the coming weeks. In fact, we're gonna do a whole week, not just one show, but 2 shows that in the art with the art of parenting, where we talk all about organization and how to get our homes organized and get ready for the summer and get our kids ready for camp and all these things. And I'm super excited about this show. But routine is something that we deal with every single day, right? And when our routine goes awry or goes haywire, it's really hard to be in the moment and have fun and bring fun into the home. So one of the things that I think is so important for you as parents to think about is, how are you setting up your home in the way of routine? And what's so important about that is, I am not a stickler, and I do not want you to be a stickler for, we do this at this time and this at this time. That, to me, that's not routine. That is regimented scheduling. And that, hey, Johnny, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here. Welcome to the Art of Parenting on Sway on Amazon Live. It's great to have you. Thanks for joining me. So the thing about routine is it sets up consistency. And for children, one of the things that makes them feel happy and safe and secure and loved is consistency and routine. So when I talk about routine, what I'm actually really talking about is order and the order of the day. And do they understand what's coming next? Because when kids have a real sense of what is coming next, and they're not wondering what's going to be thrown at them during the day and what's going to be taken away from them during the day and all of these things. And by the way, as a parent, you're setting this up proactively instead of reactively. You're going to get less tantrums. You're going to get less manipulation tactics. You're going to get less behavioral challenges. Your children are going to be triggered less. All of these things, and it makes it easier for you. You know what? I'm really warm in the studio today, so I'm going to actually just remove my sweater. There we go. Oh, I feel so much better. That. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I feel better now. Okay, so with routine with your kids, it's really about communication, talking to them and saying, what is it that, setting them up for success, right? And so in doing that, what is it that how do we set them up for success? So Rosalinda, I so agree with you that when you have routine set up in your home, it comes much more naturally for your little ones, right? This sense of safety and security. And so routine. So Rosalinda, share with me, what is one of the things that you do with your family every single day, and so they know that it's happening, whether it's a breakfast routine or a dinner routine or getting ready routine or bedtime routine. So like I said, for me, for example, I get in my shower and I put a few drops of this eucalyptus essential oil in the shower, and it really opens up my senses, opens up my body, gets me started for the day. I have my latte as part of that. Another thing that I do every morning is I check in with the news, with news sources that I feel are reliable. And I do read, I get a quick, here's what's happening, and it's a 5-minute read. I do that. And then the other thing that I do is I write in a journal like this, right? And this journal, this happens to be, so normally here's the craziest thing. So I've been journaling since I was really young, and I've always just journaled in a very like stream of conscious way where I just do like brain dumps into my journal. So my journals have they've always been just line journals or empty pages. This is the first time in the history of my journaling that I have picked up a journal that has prompts in it. And what I mean by that is, for example, it says, this is a prompt, okay? It says, have courage this month to share a little more of your story with someone else. Ask them about theirs. What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about this person? So, and then I actually haven't done this one yet, but when I do this one, I will then write about that experience. And so this is, more of a directed journal. This is not, oh, here's what's happening in my day. I mean, of course I can write those things, but this one is definitely, it takes a different type of approach. Yes, Rosalinda, this is, okay, so what I was saying was the reason why I picked up this journal was because I read Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, right after it came out. So now, was that this past summer or the summer before? I think it was the summer before now. Anyways, I was and I am obsessed. I have read it and since I read it again. So when she came out with her journal, I thought to myself, even though this was not the style of journaling that I am used to doing, I thought I had to check it out. So yeah, so look, so check this out. So the journal is called Becoming, which I love. It's, just like her book, but also I think that the really nice thing about this, even the word becoming, it's like, who are we becoming on a daily basis, right? Like, how are we changing? How are we evolving? What are we doing every day to grow, to make ourselves better human beings? I mean, there's been so much social change this year alone, but we're not done. We're not even close to being done. We have so much work to do. And so actually being intentional and doing something like this really helps us to focus on what are things that we are currently doing and what are things that we can do to be better human beings. And along with that, so journaling is a part of my morning routine. And for kids, I think that this is so important as well. And the thing about kids and journaling is that it's really hard to get them going. It's challenging. Unless you have a kid who is a natural writer, it's really hard to get them started. So one of the ways that I like to tell parents to help kind of give their kids a little push into the world of journaling is by doing something where you're actually engaging in the activity with them. And what I mean by that is that you're actually journaling back and forth with them. And I'm looking right now, I'm trying to pull this up because I want to show this to you. Let's see. Oh, here it is. I almost missed it. Okay, so this is a journal that you actually do with your child. This one is it's called Just Between Us. It's a mother and daughter, no stress, no rules. Hey Gina, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's so awesome to have you here with me. I hope you had a great weekend. Welcome. Tuesday morning, we're talking about bringing fun into your home with your kids. And we're starting with the best is setting the stage. In order to bring fun into your home, you have to be you have to be in the present moment, and you have to feel like you can really focus and being in the present, which means that all of the stress and your to-do list, your mental to-do list, the errands, all those things you have to be able to kind of put aside for a few moments to be in the moment, to have fun with your kids. And so the first thing that we're talking about also is a routine, how to have, if you have some routine in your morning and you get some of the to-dos out of the way, then you can really have fun with your kids, okay? So this is a journal that you can do with your kids, and this is a great way to get them into journaling because this is the coolest thing ever. You write something, then you pass it to your child and they write something, and then it comes back to you. And the rules, I mean, this actually, it's so funny. This actually says a no stress, no rules journal. But I will tell you, even if you don't have this one, that's the goal. If you keep a journal that you pass back and forth between you and then one of your kids, whether it's your son or your daughter, that you tell them, you say, anything that comes up that is said in the journal stays in the journal, so that your kids will feel that it is a safe place to ask you questions and to make comments about things. And this is where you guys can have these safe space conversations. And the fun part too is you can say, like I would write something and then I would stick it under my daughter's pillow. And before she'd go to bed, I would say, oh, by the way, there's a treat for you under your pillow, right? Or there's something under your pillow for you. And she would go to bed and she would read this like really nice note that I had written to her, or maybe she had a question and I answered her question, or maybe she had a comment about something that I did that she didn't like. And then I can even say to her, in the journal, because again, it stays in the journal, but there have been times where my daughter would say to me, I didn't like the way you handled this, or I didn't like how you embarrassed me. And in the journal, I would apologize and I would say, I would explain myself. I would say, where that came from? It came from my own fear or my own insecurity or my own embarrassment, or I could have said it better to you. I could have done this, right? But journaling becomes a very safe space to have these conversations with our kids that are sometimes very triggering and quite frankly just really hard to have with our kids. It's really hard to say to your kid, oh, we have to have a talk now. I mean, how forced does that feel, right? Right, Gina? I totally agree. This is also, by the way, for moms who have boys and, who have sons, this is an awesome way to get them to talk, to have a conversation with you. Even if you're not dialoguing face to face with them, I can't tell you how many parents I work with that say to me, my son just sits in front of the computer and is gaming all day long. He's in his room and yes, I was just going to say that, Gina. He is embarrassed about everything. I can't talk to him about anything. And yet, as a parent, I feel like there are so many things that I want to share with him and ask him about and talk to him about. And this is a great way to do that, right? And so it doesn't have to be this journal. It can be any journal you want, right? There are so many different great journals on Amazon. If you have a child who is into picking out these types of things, then you can say, go online, pick out a journal. I have this really fun activity for us. But I will tell you that a lot of kids, they just need to be kind of like gently pushed into any kind of new activity, right? Especially if they're above the age of like 7 or 8. Gina, I really agree with you. Like it takes, listen, not just boys, like with young kids and kids in general, especially if they're not raised in a home. And I'm not saying that this is the truth with you, but if kids are raised in a home where emotions and the vocabulary around emotions is not part of the language of that home on a daily basis all the time, which is really, really hard, by the way, then kids don't grow up with that. They don't know how to do it. They have a hard time talking about their own emotions. They have a hard time asking about other people's emotions. And as parents, one of the things that is really the onus is on us to help our kids build their vocabulary around emotions, understand how to talk about it, think about it, and most of all, handle it in developmentally appropriate ways. Because when we are doing that, when we are able to have those conversations, when we're able to teach our kids these things, they become emotionally intelligent human beings. And many of you probably have already heard this and know this, but we know now that emotional IQ is much more important than just plain IQ, because how we go out into the world and how we handle ourselves in different situations and how we are with our the population around us. I mean, just look at what has happened this year, like how we handle ourselves in work situations, in school situations, with friends, in romantic relationships, in familial relationships. Like there are so many different types of interactions that we have on a daily basis, let alone weekly and monthly and yearly. Think about all of the interactions we have with people, we have to know how to be able to have conversations. One of the things that I work with families and with teenagers so much on is how to have a positive confrontational conversation. And the reason why I say it that way is because I've worked with so many people that say to me, I can't stick up for myself. I don't want to confront someone, because there's like this negative connotation around it that if you tell someone you don't like something, or if you're sticking up for yourself, or you're being too emotional, or you're being overly sensitive, or you're not smart enough, or you don't know how to say it the right way. We need to put all of that aside. We need to really be authentic to ourselves, and we need to learn how to be emotionally intelligent human beings where we can have these conversations, and more importantly, we can teach our children how to have these conversations so that they can go out into the world and they can be these really awesome human beings that I know that they are so capable of being. Okay, so I just kind of went off on like a little tirade about being emotionally intelligent because it's so important to me. It's so important to me. So you've got your routine and you're talking to your kids about what's happening in the day. I want you to every single day do something fun with your kids, okay? Not related to their extracurricular activities, not related to school or homework, not related to errands, something fun that you can do with your kids. Now, here's the most important piece of this. And if you walk away from this show with me with with only one overarching piece of information, here's what I want it to be. This is so important. I want you to meet your kids where they are. Yeah, Rosalinda, it absolutely starts at home as far as teaching our kids to be emotionally intelligent. It's 100% how we talk to our kids, how we treat them, and how we teach them how to interact and talk with other people around the world, around them in their environment, whether it's at home with siblings or on the schoolyard, being a good friend, all of these things. There are so many different experiences that our children, sorry, I have something in my eye. There are so many different experiences that our children are having every single day. And we are not around for a lot of them. I mean, I know this year we have been. And as parents, we've been able to see so much this year. And actually, that's been like one of the true gifts of this year, at least for me. I've really been able to see. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend who was saying she sees how her kids are such different learners, and she sees how they take in information, and she had never really saw that before. And so she was able to really help them become better students this year by understanding how to help them better. And I think that's really been a gift that this year has given all parents. If you paid attention and you saw the way your kids were doing school, however they were doing school this year, one of the things that we as parents were able to really do was to really kind of hone in on how to help our children be better students. Yeah, Gina, that happened with me as well. I was able to, it was so fun. Like, I got to like listen in, sort of. I mean, I wasn't like standing over my kids or anything, but they're online, they're on Zoom, and they're not always wearing headsets. And so I could often hear them, the teachers, the conversations that were being had, for better or for worse, right? And I was able to really see how it translated into my kids' bodies, right? Like what they really received, and then what they were able to understand, and then actually like put back out into the world. And as a parent, I was able to really get a better grasp on who my kids are as students, because parents don't actually see our kids as students. All we get is 1 or 2, maybe 3 parent-teacher conferences a year. And what is that, 15, 20 minutes? So you have maybe 45 minutes to an hour in an entire year of one-on-one time with your teacher about your child. That's honestly, in my opinion, not enough time. And so this year, we were able to really see kind of who our kids were as students, which I think was so cool. And so in that sense, it was actually like an amazing year for me, and I know for a lot of parents, because they were able to implement very specific strategies that help their kids become better students. And And yes, oh my gosh, Gina, you and I have like the same brain this morning. I was literally just going to say that so many parents I know have said to me, my kids became so much more of an independent learner and an independent person this year because they were forced into this situation where they had to be. They didn't have a teacher standing over them and telling them what they had to do or what they should or shouldn't do. And so for better or worse, like I said, like for some kids, it was a massively huge and challenging adjustment. And for other kids, they adjusted really well. So I'm curious, Rosalinda, what you actually mean by that. Like, if you can give us, I'm really like genuinely curious. I love having these conversations all about schools, whether it's private, public, small, large, religious schools, non-religious schools. Like, I think that the way that we are, hey Trey, how are you? I think the way that we are educating our children across the board, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for this, but I think the way that we are educating our children is archaic. I've actually done a lot of research about this. It's based on the age of industrialization when we were, this is like a history lesson, which my show is not about. So we're not going to get into that. But what I will say is that our educational system needs to change because the careers that are out there now for our children are changing every single day. And the capabilities and the things that they need to know how to do to be a successful adult is so different than it was 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And yet our educational system is based on that. And it makes me so angry because my kids, even like my older daughter who is 15, who's starting to think about college, she has come to me and she has said, I'm going to go away to college and I will never have had a course on X. And like, how crazy is that? And for example, I'll say you what X was in my mind right now. Like I'm thinking, like she said, I have never had a course on how to manage my own finances and on investing. And so like, yes, you and daddy have taught me things and like, we will continue to teach her things because we feel that that's a very important life skill. But like, shouldn't there be a class where kids are being taught how to balance a checkbook, how to look at their savings account, their checking account, to understand maybe blockchain technology, NFTs. I mean, there's this whole world of like economics and kids don't get it. They don't get any exposure to it unless they opt into these classes in college. And quite frankly, who does that? I went to this awesome college. I took tons of classes across the board. I never, ever took a finance or an econ class. Never. It didn't dawn on me to take it. It wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't something that my school even said you should do this or you have to do this. And so I didn't. And what I learned, I honestly learned on my own. Or yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. Like until I got married and I read books, and honestly, so much of it I learned with my kids as I was teaching them. And I actually think that, that's one of the biggest challenges, for our kids today, that they're not learning things that they really, really need to. And even history, I believe that history is taught in a way that is so archaic. And if history was taught in a way that was, first of all, interesting and engaging, and there are so many ways to do that as opposed to just like having our kids read a textbook. I mean, I'm not a teacher and I could come up with like 25 different lesson plans on how to teach history in an interesting way because I happen to love history. It was not like my major in college. I was never into it until I was an adult, but I love learning about history. And so I read a ton, and I read historical fiction and non-fiction books all about history, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and documentaries. I love it. And so in all of that, I find that one of the things that I really found this year especially was that if history had been taught to me differently, and I am in my early 40s, and so like even then it was so archaic, and it is still so archaic because the way that I see my kids learning history today, it could be done so differently in such an engaging way. And Trey, you were just saying that you've always taught homeschool because things are so behind and backwards. You know, that's so interesting. I seriously considered being a homeschool teacher years ago, like not because of COVID or anything. Years ago, I seriously considered being a homeschool teacher, but I honestly didn't think I had it in me when my kids were really young. Now I could totally do it. Now that my kids, you know, I just think it would have been hard to do like the foundational math and the foundational reading. I could have done it, but it just doesn't interest me, right? But the like the history and the English and civics and social engagement and just all of these things, I would love to be doing more. I could totally do that now. So I think that's awesome, Trey, that you're doing that. History is challenging because depending on who teaches it, it can be taught subjectively. It shouldn't really be taught subjectively, but it can be taught subjectively. So one of the things that is really important is that children are getting what I feel is a well-rounded, well-represented, unbiased teacher behind the history lesson. And sadly, that's not something that we, the parents, have control over. Now, I happen to think my kids are getting that. And so I feel very fortunate for my children that they're getting that unbiased, well-rounded education on history. But I know that there are a lot of schools that are not doing that. I know that there are a lot of schools, the way that they teach the civil rights movement, the way they talk about, let's say, World War II, but not about the Holocaust, right? Like they leave out things. So I think that like there are definitely areas where our schools could be doing so much better. But and I know I'm probably going to get some hate for saying that. Listen, it is so hard. I am not a teacher. I am not an administrator. I'm not in the world of education except for educating parents and working with teens and tweens. But that's the thing. I work with all these kids and I see their assignments. They talk to me about their assignments, whether they're short term or long term. And I literally sit there and I'm like scratching my head and I'm like, why was this assigned? Like, what does this have to do with anything that is relevant today? And if it isn't relevant today, then could the teacher at least try to draw a parallel so that kids will be engaged in it? And that just doesn't always happen. And again, I went off on another rant about education because I feel so passionate about it. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess like Rosalinda and Trey, you're saying that you guys are really homeschooling your kids, which is really amazing. And that's interesting too, because you're saying that you were homeschooled. I would love to know, and if you guys know, put it in the chat. I'm so curious if you know what the percent. Oh, you were not homeschooled, Trey. Okay, sorry, I got that wrong. But I'm wondering still if you guys happen to know, and if you don't, it's totally fine. I'll look it up. What the percentage is of the parents who homeschool, who were homeschooled themselves, versus the parents who are homeschooling just because they didn't feel that the educational system was satisfactory or stellar enough for their kids, right? Like who are the parents that are taking it on completely new because they've had it, versus who are the ones that know that it's like really great, works and can be done and our kids can thrive from it. It's so funny because I think that with homeschooling, Trey and Rosalinda, tell me what you think. I think that there used to be, like when I thought about doing it, or about 15 years ago, there was kind of this negative connotation around it. And kind of like this thing, like not a negative connotation, there was like a stigma attached to it that if I was going to homeschool my kids, like why was I doing that? And like then they would be homeschooled children, right? And they wouldn't maybe be socialized properly or get the right education. I don't feel that that is the case at all anymore. And Rosalinda, yeah, that's what I thought, because I was remembering from an earlier show when we were talking about this, and you were saying that you do public school for some of your kids, but some of your other ones are home, because you have like a whole brood in your home. And Kathy, hi, it's so great to have you today joining me. you have 5 adult children, okay, 5, and you would have gone crazy if you were their homeschool teacher. So I have 2, Kathy, and that was definitely like early on. I definitely am a person that needs me time. And I felt like if my kid, I knew this about myself then. I felt like if I knew that my kids were always going to be home with me and I was never going to ever have any breaks, like I didn't know if I was going to survive that. And I only have 2 kids. And now, because of this year that we've just had where my kids have been home, you know, well, let's just say this. The mornings where I leave my home and I get to come to the Sway studio, I'm very appreciative. I very much appreciate my time, my space, getting away a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I love my girls, love them so much, and they're actually very independent, great learners, and you know, they're fun to be around, and but they weren't, you know, they're older, they're 12 and 15. They weren't always like that. When all of you parents watching, you know, when your children are younger, they're so much more needy, they're more dependent, they can't, you know, you have to make all of the food for them, you have to help them get online, you have to really like stay on top of their workload and all these different things, right? When your kids get older, you can pull back a little bit. So it was the same for me. I definitely felt a little bit like I could have been a homeschool teacher in the later years, but not early on. And I just didn't truthfully want to take that on. Yeah, and I totally agree that like now kids that are homeschooled, there are 0 social skills lacking, 0, because there are so many communities now for families that are homeschooling, and kids that are homeschooled are also completely 100% engaged in extracurricular activities. So, it is interesting. I will say, I also see that shift a little bit, Gina, with my kids a little bit, though not so much as I've seen it with the kids that I work with, to be honest. There's been a real shift in their, desire to even be social. That's not true. There is a desire to be social, but there is a bit of a shyness that wasn't there with a lot of these kids I work with, and a lack of self-confidence, like their self-confidence and their self-esteem and their ability, they think their ability to form friendships and to be in social situations is not what it used to be. And so it's really trying to help these kids understand that everybody is in the same boat, and getting them back into school is going to help them see that, right? Like they need to, so many of the kids that I work with have said to me, I'm really scared to go back to school. I'm scared to be in social situations. And yeah, I mean, Gina, every child that I work with, whether they're in the like 5 to 12 years or whether they're, 13 to 18, because I have kids that I work with at all different ages. And yeah, they're all basically saying the same thing, that they kind of feel like they've lost their social skills outside of their immediate family. And so I think that going back to school is actually going to be really beneficial for them, for everyone, because one of the things that's going to happen is they're all going to see that they're all in the same boat. They're all in this together. And for kids, especially for older kids, for adolescents and teenagers, that's a beautiful thing. That actually really helps build the self-confidence, that when they start to understand, oh, you feel the same way as I do. That's great. That's awesome. Okay. So we're talking about fun and having fun with our kids. And I said to you that I want you to bring fun into the home. Do one fun thing with your kids every single day that is not related to school, not related to their extracurricular activities, and not related to the list of things that they have to do, like their chores or errands that you have to run, or, preparation, organization, fun. Just plain old, simple, old-fashioned fun with your kids. Okay. So, and what I said, I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. What I said was that the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this, as far as how do we have fun with our kids, is to meet them where they are. Okay, what does that even mean? What does it mean to meet your kids where they are? So it depends. It depends because you can think about it in two different ways. Okay. The first is meet them where they are in a very, developmental way. Understand, what age are they? What do they like to do? What are their favorite activities? Understanding, thinking about them, what makes them happy? What's fun? What are the things that they're going to enjoy? Do they like to be inside more versus outside, or do they like to be outside more? Are they into imaginary play? Are they into arts and crafts? Are they into sports? Are they developmentally able to do a 20-minute activity, or does it need to be a 5-minute activity? Would they prefer to do something with you, or would they prefer to do something next to you, right? Like parallel play, right? There's play together and then there's parallel play. So what is developmentally, where are your kids at? So first, in order to meet your kids where they are, you need to understand where are they developmentally. And then the other thing, and this is often what gets overlooked, is literally where they are, okay? So if you, for example, have a son who is, let's say, 12 years old or 8 years old, like you, Gina, and your son is always gaming, okay? Meet your kid there. Sit down and learn his favorite game and play it with him. And just have fun together. And while you are playing, you can talk. You can have a conversation. And guess what? It's not going to feel so forced. In fact, it's going to feel very, very organic. Yeah, Trey, exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Your son loves to game and code, and so you do that and you fish, exactly. So the idea is to meet your kids where they are. Now, I have parents say to me all the time, I have zero interest in gaming, or, moms of daughters who are, let's say, 10, 11, 12 years old who are constantly TikToking, right? And the moms are like, I can't deal. They're always dancing. So then I say to the mom, have a dance party with your daughter. Just turn the music on really loud, break out some fun hats and boas and whatever, and have a dance party. In fact, turn on TikTok and do a TikTok with your daughter, and then let her post it, or don't, but show her that you can be in the moment with her, and you can have fun with her, and you can be silly, and you can embarrass yourself, because our children look at us as adults, as they should, as the ones who take care of them, as they should, but we also want them to look at us as real human beings who have real emotions and can have fun with them, on our own, with other adults, etc. And if we don't show them that side of us, then they're never going to see us as full human beings. And it's really, really important that our children see us as not just their mom and not just their dad and not just their caretaker, but also someone that they can have fun with. Now, I want to be very, very, very careful here. I want to make sure that you do not think that I am saying I want you to be your child's best friend, because that is very different, and I do not. You are their parent first, and they have plenty of other options for best friends. They have plenty of other options for friends. That is not your goal. Your goal is to be someone who can have fun with them when you are having fun in the moment, being a fun parent, bringing fun into their lives. But when it's time to be a parent, it's time to be a parent. So when your kid doesn't want to brush their teeth, guess what? That's not their decision. It's a parent decision that they have to have healthy teeth, right? Okay? So there are decisions that they get to make, decisions that you as the parent get to make. And yeah, Rosalinda, that's such a good point and that was one of the things I was saying before about journaling, is that when we get involved in our kids' activities, they are so much more comfortable. And so sometimes it is literally just the little gentle push that they need into the activity. And then you will see that they'll just kind of fly. They'll just go on their own, right? So yeah, I definitely think that it is so, so important to be thinking about where our kids are and to meet them there. When you have children that are older in their early teen and teen years, they're going to be spending a lot of time on technology. That is where they are. And I can't tell you how many parents, moms especially, have said to me, I hate social media. I'm on Facebook, but I don't want to be on anything else. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Pinterest. I'm not on, Twitter, the teens aren't really on, but let's say Snapchat and, other things that they're on, house party. And so one of the things that I say to parents is you've got to meet your kids where they are. Part of it is literally just the ability to dialogue with your kid. If your child is, let's say they are actually having a real conversation with you, yay, right? And they're trying to tell you about an experience on, let's say, TikTok and or Snapchat. And if you guys as parents have no idea what they're talking about and you've never been on these social media platforms, how can you have a parental conversation with them? How can you answer their questions? How can you make comments? How can you, and by the way, I will say this is a really fun and funny bonding activity with your kids is to say to them, I want you to put this app on my phone. I don't know how to do it. And then I want you to teach me how to use it. Right? And Rosalinda, I love your nickname for Steven, Mr. Heels. I'm going to start calling you that, Steven Boots. Mr. Heels has joined the conversation. Welcome to the Art of Parenting on Sway TV on Amazon Live. So anyways, if you want to be able to have intentional conversations with your children, you have got to know how to meet them where they are. And by the way, your kids, while they're not going to be like, oh, Mom, you're so cool that you know about Snapchat, they are going to internally feel that way. And they are going to internally know that you are a cooler parent, and they are going to be appreciative that you take their life seriously. You hear and you see what they do, where they are, where they spend their time, where they're having fun, and you yourself want to learn about it and be a part of it. And that shows them that they are being seen and heard by their parents, and not just talked to, not just told, do this, do that, have you done this, right? As parents, we spend so much time nagging our kids. I mean, really, even when we try not to, we spend a lot of time nagging our kids. And whether we're doing it intentionally or not, heels or boots, Steven. Got it. Okay, got it. Whether we are intentional or not, we really want our kids to feel that we are involved and engaged in their lives. We want them to feel that more than I want them to. I want my kids to feel, hey, my mom and my dad, they see me, they hear me, they get me, and that is not something that they're consciously going to be aware of, but it's a reason for, if you have a kid that comes and talks to you and asks you questions and wants your opinion, it's because they know that they are seen and heard by you. If you have a kid that is closed off, doesn't talk to you, doesn't ask your opinion, doesn't ask questions, it's because they don't think that they're going to get anything back from you. So why should they put that energy there? You would do the same thing as a parent, right? If you have a friend where you feel like it's a one-way friendship and you're never getting anything back from that friend, at some point you're going to say, you know what? This isn't a friendship. This person doesn't see me. They don't hear me. They don't put their time into this friendship at all. Like, why should I keep doing that? Why should I keep, putting the energy in over and over and over? And so I think that that's something that is really important for us to acknowledge, that we have to, we have to really show our kids that we are present and that we are engaged in their life and we are wanting to be a part of it in in all these different ways. And when we actually really do that, then okay, I'll call you Heels. Awesome. I'll call you Heels. Gina, you're saying you are saying that your son wanted a YouTube channel for gaming and toy reviews at the beginning of the pandemic. And now you're teaching him how to shoot, use lighting, editing, and streaming. It's great bonding for us. And yes, totally. Isn't it so fun? Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about before when I was saying that academically our kids are not necessarily being set up for what they see as things that they can do in the future. Let's face it, as parents, we may not love this, but our children are on technology so much. They are seeing YouTubers, they are seeing gamers, they are seeing toy reviewers, people that are unboxing things on, right? And they see, I think we look at it as our kids just want to get rich and get famous. But I actually think that our children view these things as professions and things that they can do, and that it's fun and it's interesting and they get to be out there and they get to express themselves. And so exactly what you're doing, Gina, by you taking something that your son is interested in and hearing him and not shutting him down, because I have a lot of parents who've come to me with exactly what you're saying that their child wants to have their own YouTube channel or their own TikTok channel, and they want it to be public and they want to be able to put themselves out there, right? And parents just shut it down. And what I say is, why don't you actually do it with your child? Why don't you make this an activity that you can do together? You can learn how to do it together. You can actually practice it together. And just exactly as you said, Gina, you can, it can really become a bonding opportunity, a very organic bonding opportunity for you and your child. And you can learn so much. And when you do it, when you set it up this way, it's the comment that you just said, that you control the channel. That's exactly it. And one of the things that I will say is, as a parent, when you allow your kids to have access to something at a relatively younger age, but you control it, you actually are teaching them so much about how to handle themselves out in the real world. And Johnny, the fact that you're teaching like old school laws and rules, I think that is awesome. So here's my question for you, Johnny. Are you teaching, can you give us an example of an old school rule or law that you're teaching? And then do you draw a parallel to modern day usage of that, right? So I'm hoping and I'm guessing that even if you're teaching something that is older, that it's not irrelevant for our kids, right? And so the question is, how are you making it relevant? If you're teaching something that's an older law or rule or foundation, how are you making that relevant for today? So I'm curious. So Johnny, let us know what you're doing. I'm really genuinely, I'm so curious. Oh, he doesn't? But he said that, wait, I thought training own child, old school laws. He said he's training his own child, unless I'm misunderstanding. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Okay. If I'm misunderstanding, then you can just ignore that request. Okay. So I want to share with you a couple of other things that are as far as bringing fun in. I want you to bring, so the next part after meeting them where they are is to have intentional fun, where you can create organic bonding. And we touched on that a little bit, but this is what I mean by that. So doing something with your child, either literally with them or parallel, where you're sitting together, and as a result, got it. Thanks, Rosalinda, for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Rosalinda, you could sit here and be my co-host. It's awesome. So anyways, doing things with your kids that is fun, that are fun activities, you will create natural and organic bonding opportunities. So that's why I was saying to meet them where they are, right? So whether it's gaming or doing a dance party, got it, Johnny. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So here's something that's really fun that I really like to do. And I like to do, I'm a big reading, writing, and art person in my home. And I have 2 girls. So, and we do get outside a lot for things like bike rides and walks and hikes. But when we're in the house, one of the things that I really like to do are these, I want to show you. So these, they're called diamond painting kits, and they're all over Amazon, and they come in all different kinds of patterns and designs. And this is one of them. You can see it, this diamond painting kit. And like I said, they come in all different designs. But okay, so here's the really cool thing about this is that, let's see. If you're sitting at the table and you're doing this with your child and you can do these activities with producer Andy. I just lost control. What? I just went dark. The control panel just went dark. What?
Please don't address production like that. I don't know what that means. Control panel went dark.
Sorry.
Tap main and go back to main.
There's nothing. So I can't. Sorry. Okay, so these activities that if you do them with your child as you're sitting there and you're having fun.
This goes to sleep every 30 minutes. You have to turn it back on.
Yeah, but look.
It's not powered. It wasn't plugged in, so it needs to be powered. Everything's got to be powered.
Got it. Okay. Sorry. Let me.
This, by the way, is something to make sure to come.
Okay. So, thank you. Okay. Fixed. We're all fixed. Okay. If you're doing one of these really fun, intentional. Rosalinda, I have never seen the pink trees. Did you guys hear that the cherry blossoms in Japan blossomed the earliest this year that they've blossomed in I don't remember now, over 100 years? I thought that was really an interesting fact. Okay, so when you're sitting doing these fun activities with your kids, the coolest part about it, aside from having fun and having this fun activity with your, with your kid, you will naturally have these conversations because you're just sitting there, and you have these organic conversations that will happen, and all of a sudden you're going to find yourself talking to your kid about something that you didn't think you were going to be talking about. And that in and of itself is a real bonding experience. And
It's going to take time to get back up. Just stay on game.
Okay. So that's a real bonding experience. And so I want you to think about things that you can do. So another, something else that you can do are these types of, so if you have a younger child, for example, who is obviously not writing yet and they like to be on the floor, and like I said, you meet your kid where they are, right? So if you have a child that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're gonna wanna play on the floor. So doing these things, like these memory games, these are like these, this one happens to be one of my favorite ones. It's by this company called Ebu, and it's called I Never Forget a Face, and I love it because it has faces of people from around the world. So from a really young age, my kids were seeing human beings of all different races and nationalities, and it was just awesome. I really loved that for them. But so that was like something that I liked, but they didn't they were just internalizing that they were playing and having a really fun time with mommy or daddy or grandma or whoever was playing with them, and they love the this memory game. So this is actually made by one of my favorite toy companies called Ebu. The product is amazing. The quality is incredible. I have had this game in my home for over 14 years now, and literally it looks brand new. Like, the tiles are completely in the best shape ever. It has held up so well. It's going in my kids' memory bin so that when I have grandchildren, we'll pull it out, we'll play, because it's just awesome. So that's something else that I really love. Okay, now, we've talked about how to bring fun in. We've talked about being, prepared and, having routine and all these things. I want to talk about something else that I think that when we do this in our homes, we're able to focus on the fun, right? Because all of this stuff is if we're trying to bring fun into our homes, in order to do that, to have fun with your kids, you have to be in the moment and mindful and present, right? You can't have all these other things on your mind. Now, I will say that if we as parents have a lot on our mind, or there are things that are concerning us, we have to deal with those things. Just like if our kids have things that are really harping on them, they need to deal with those things before they can have fun. And Johnny, you're saying your aunt was very tough. She would punish your cousin, and even the 70 to 90. Wow. So your cousin had to get like 100% on all exams, and if not, your cousin would get punished. Wow. That is very tough. I think it's important that, one of the lessons as a parent that I think we need to be teaching our children across the board is it's less about the end result and more about what they put into it. And if you have a child that is studying really hard and independently learning and taking the time to do what they need to do and what I mean by that is, for example, if you have a child that's in math and struggling, but they go to their teacher and they say, I want some extra help. Can you meet with me at lunch recess? Well, that's amazing. Your child took the initiative to actually talk to their teacher and stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves. To me as a parent, that is actually, honestly, an even bigger win for your kid than if they get an A on that math quiz. I mean, really, honestly, you want a kid that can go out in the world and advocate for themselves rather than know how to do every single math equation. That's just the honest to God truth, unless you have a child that wants to be an engineer. So, and even then, you still want them to be able to have these conversations. So it is so much about the journey with kids. It is so much about teaching them how to get to the end result and do it well. And it's hard, right, Gina? It's hard. I mean, I will say, like, one of the things I actually learned about my kids this year was that they actually advocate for themselves really well. And when we did have our teacher interviews this year, that was the single most frequent comment that we heard across the board from all of the teachers. And I left their conferences and I said to their dad, I said, you know what, honestly, if we walk away from this year and they go back in person, because we didn't know when they were going to go back in person. They're actually going back in person this week. Hey, Ashley, how are you? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. Hope the baby's good. But yeah, so I think that, like, what I said to their dad was that if my kids, if their takeaway from this year is that they have learned how to advocate for themselves and they know how to talk to their teachers and to stick up for themselves, and to have these conversations and to ask for help, that's the win. 100%, that is the win for me. Oh, Gina, your son's going to be remote. Yeah. You know what? My kids just went back. My daughter, who is 12 in the 6th grade, she went back right before spring break. And then we went on spring break for 2 weeks. And my daughter, who is 15, is joining her and going back this week. And they're both going back, not full time yet. It's still in like a hybrid capacity, but they are in person half of the week and remote half of the week. And they're so happy to do that. But this is one of the really interesting things about this year is that school is different for everybody, right? And like, even in the same neighborhood, we're not even talking like state versus state or state, not that it's like a versus thing, but we're talking about like literally in my neighborhood, there are kids that are going to school in all different forms. There are kids that are in person 100% of the time. There are kids that are still remote 100% of the time. There are kids that are hybrid. There are kids that are half hybrid, half and half. There are kids that are 3/4, 1/4. So, it's really, there's still so much we're learning. There's still so much change. And, and that's the other thing, Gina. I think I really agree with you. Like, there are a lot of parents who made decisions based on, their kids being comfortable where they are now. And I know like my daughters whose school has finally reopened and they're able to go back to school. My daughters have friends that the parents have decided just to keep them home for the rest of the year because the kids are comfortable and they're happy and they're doing well at home. And why not just keep that up and let them finish the year and then know that next year they're going to be going back. And I do think that next year, I could be wrong. I am not a doctor, but I do think, given the rate that this country is going with the immunizations and the numbers are coming down, that our children will be able to be back in school full time next year for the most part across the board. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't see in the future, and I'm not a doctor. But that is my belief and my hope that our children will be able to be back in school full time. Rosalinda, you're right. A lot of kids don't know how to be a voice for themselves. Many are shy. But I think that one of the things that we can do as parents is to really help our kids grow that muscle. I really think of that advocation for oneself as a muscle and an ability to be able to do something that I don't believe should be there when they're little kids. That's something that they have to learn, of course. And so we as parents have to really help teach our kids how to do that. When our children have really good teachers and our teachers say to them, I want you to come to me first, and I'm never going to get mad at you, and I just want to help you, then they feel comfortable to do that. Because the reality is our children feel that way with us, but they don't feel that way once they step outside the door naturally. And so they have to have trust with people out in the world that they can speak up for themselves and they're not going to get, yelled at or scolded or embarrassed or shamed. And that comes over time. That comes in time. Okay. Sorry about that. My throat was parched. I'm parched. Okay. So, one of the things that I was just saying is, I'm just reading your comment, Rosalinda. And so that's what I was saying before as well, that there are a lot of people that the pandemic didn't change the scope of what school looked like, because it really depends on how old your kids are, right? That's why we all had these really drastically different experiences, because we have kids who are different ages and we have kids in all different forms of learning environments. And so what happened in my home, what was working in my home, what didn't work in my home is different than you, Rosalinda, and different than you, Boots, and different than you, Gina, right? All of the parents that are out there watching right now, we had really different experiences. And so to sit here and say unilaterally across the board, this is what works, you can't do that. That's why even as a parenting consultant, I don't ever go into someone's home and say, here's how you have to solve this, right? Because first of all, we all come to the parenting table very differently. What does that mean? We were parented individually differently than our significant other, or if we're parenting as a solo parent, we have to think about how are we parented? What do we bring with us to the table of being a parent when we become a parent? And exactly, Gina, like your son, like you're saying, he likes quiet, and so he had a harder time focusing in school, right? And that's one of the things that has been so interesting, that parents have really been able to see this year what really works. And so I think it's one of the things that I think is actually, that's going to come out of this too, is next year when our kids do go back to school, I think we as the parents will help our children advocate for themselves in ways where they will be able to have better learning experiences. That's my hope, at least. So I know, for example, like Gina, what you're saying, like you can talk to your sons, because he's 8, but you can talk with him maybe to your son's teachers, or say to your teacher, my son wants to share with you some of the things that he needs so that he will have a successful year. And then hopefully he'll have a good teacher who will listen to him and hear him and want to help him have a successful year, right? So much of this really is also about our kids' teachers and what are they willing, what are they willing to do for our kids? I'm so sorry. My throat is a little bit dry all of a sudden. One of the things, as parents and our kids, like, the way that things happen in the classroom, it's completely at the discretion of the teachers. And there's only so much we as parents or even our children can control. And so my hope is that teachers have also learned a lot this year, and that they will be open to different learning styles, that they will go back into the classroom and understand that their kids are going to have different needs, and that they will be open to that they're going to want to hear that they're going to want to bring those things into the classroom. Like, I have a ton of kids that I work with that like to fidget. They like to be moving their hands around, and it actually, believe it or not, moving around helps them focus. And so there are all of these awesome fidget toys that you can get for your kids, that while they're listening to a teacher give, like, let's say a lecture about a book that they're reading or even a math lesson, they can just be sitting at their desk and they can be fidgeting with their toy, and they're taking in the information better than they otherwise would without that. We've learned these things this year. We've seen what actually really works for our kids and what doesn't. So again, it's my hope that teachers will really... Yeah, Ashley, totally. I totally get that. Well, and here's what's also funny. Like, I've always known this. Like, I like to work standing up. Yeah, and Gina, you're saying you have to spin a pencil. Like, people have to do things, right? Like, and as adults, here's what's so interesting. As adults, and Ashley and Gina and Rosalinda, you probably can relate to this. Like, we are all adults. So we have had a lifetime, whether we're in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 20s, whatever it is, we are at a point where we have discovered what works for us and what makes us successful learners, or gives us a more successful ability to focus and approach a task, right? But guess what? Our children, they haven't learned that yet. They're in the process of learning that. And so this year, we as parents were able to actually kind of like peek into that world and learn with them what works. And now they can take that knowledge back into the classroom, because we as parents have never really seen that. And so why would we say to our kid or our teacher, they need to fidget while they're in class listening to you speak? It's not distracting. Like, they should be able to do it. And yeah, I mean, you're right, Rosalinda. We have a voice and we have a choice, and we can put our kids in school or we can keep them home. But, I think like the most important thing is that we help our children figure out how to be the most successful, most productive learners, and individuals in school as they possibly can be. And because we've had this bird's eye view into how their year was, we can take that information and we can really help them utilize that so they can go back into the next year and have a really successful and productive future academically, right? So it actually, in some ways, they're kind of like gonna get a jump start, because maybe whereas they wouldn't have figured out that they need to twirl a pencil or play with a fidget toy, now they're going to have that information and they're going to take that with them into school. Okay. I want to change the, so we've talked all about having fun. I want to spend the last 20 minutes talking about being prepared for something that happened in LA, in California, Southern California, not last night, but the night before. We had an earthquake. In fact, we had a series of earthquakes. And we had, they were not actually that close to my home. There was like a 4.0 and then a smaller and then a 3.3. Or it could have been, that could be reversed. I could be messing that up. It could have been a 3.3, then a smaller, then a 4.0. At any rate, at 4:44 a.m., not this morning, but yesterday morning, I was woken up by an earthquake. And I thought to myself, it was, if you are in California or if you're in a place where you get earthquakes, there are two different types of earthquakes. There's the one that it like rocks you, jolts you, and then there's the rolling, like we sway into the earthquake, right? So I knew immediately, I can tell the difference. I knew that it was a rolling one. In fact, one of my two dogs woke up before she like bolted up, sat upright, and she caused me to sit up. And she sleeps in bed with me. Yes, she does. And I actually heard it before I felt it, which was the craziest thing. Like, I heard my house moving a little bit, and then I immediately was like, oh, we're about to have an earthquake. And I went into, it is Rosalind, it's a great convo stream, right? I will be back. I'm back. I'm now back. My kids I'm here. I'm going to be here twice a week. And I'm going to talk to my producer about hopefully even joining more than twice a week. And yes, Jed is going to be here with me on Friday. And we have a very a funny show coming up that we're planning. So hopefully you can join us on Friday morning. We'll be here Friday morning at 9 a.m., just like today at 9 a.m., and so yeah, I want to share with you because we had, take care Rosalinda, great to see you. Hopefully I'll see you in a couple days. Or great to have you here with me.
You can call in, by the way,
Oh
now.
yeah, yes, my producer just mentioned that you can call in, which that would be really fun. Maybe we'll have you call in on a future show. That would be awesome. Friday we're going to be talking, well, I'm not going to tease it yet because I haven't run it by Jed, and I probably should, as opposed to just like springing it on him. Wow. Although it is fun when I spring things on him. But so yeah, we'll see. So anyways, so back to this earthquake. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, we have, and in the carousel below, we have some items that are earthquake preparedness, and I want to share with you some of my favorite one. It's weird to say these are some of my favorite earthquake preparedness items, but in my home, so when we had this earthquake, I got into I very quickly got into an earthquake position, and I made sure that both of my dogs were on the bed and not under the bed, because I'm always worried that the bed, something could happen. And I knew my girls were safe in their beds, and I knew if they woke up, or at least I thought, that they would call for me. So I waited to see what would happen, and I held on tight, and I am one of those people that likes to prepare and likes to be organized. If you've watched my show, we talk about organization, and we talk about being prepared and having routines and all of these things. And so I have a large earthquake kit in my home with all of my preparedness stuff in it. And I also have water in my garage, and I know how to turn off the electricity. So that stuff doesn't worry me. It's just, how bad is it going to be, and is anyone going to get hurt? And so because I have some of those things, I've used them in the past, and I know the things that I really love, and some of them happen to be in the carousel, and I just wanted to share them with you. Bye, Rosalinda. Take care. Have a great day. Hug your kiddos. Enjoy your time with them. Okay, and so this is the first thing that I wanted to share with you is this is called, shoot. I just got pulled away from it. Okay. This is called the, where is it? Okay. It is the Jackery Portable Power Station Explorer. It is the Jackery Portable Power Station Explorer. It is the Jackery This is it. I want to share this with you. You can plug in all different types of, it's like a massive, huge battery is essentially what it is, okay? And you need to have something like this so that if you lose power, you are going to be safe and you're going to be able to plug in all your devices and get the news that you need and find out what's going on around you. So that is the first thing that I wanted to share with you. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you, and let's face it, if you live in a place where you have earthquakes, you need to also have first aid kit. I have, like I said, I have a really, really large one in my home, but I also have, oh, Gina, take care. It's great. It was great to have you here with me. Go have a good lunch. Enjoy being with your kiddos. So this is a first aid kit. And this first aid kit comes with all of the essentials that you would need for minor cuts, scrapes, burns, issues, etc. Remember, if you live in a place where you have earthquakes, you not only need to have a first aid kit in your home, but you need to have a first aid kit in your cars. And what I love about this one, which again is in the carousel, what I love about this one is that it is so compact and it has all of your essentials and it zips up really nice and tight and you can stow it in your trunk. You can put it under a seat in the car. You can stick this in a cabinet. I mean, it's very small, very compact, and it's got everything you need. In my home, I have something that's larger and that you can use for even larger injuries. But this is an awesome one for the car. I absolutely love that. And then, wait, where is it? Oh, I had this right here. Oh, sorry, had to stretch for it. Woo, okay. Then this one, this is a flashlight, radio, and universal AC adapter. So this, this one is a hand crank, which you have to have something that's a hand crank. See, look. Woo! Look at this. It's very easy. Woo! It just cranks like that. and I love this this brand Dynamo. I love their stuff. The product quality is awesome. It's really great. And so this is an awesome. I've used the word awesome so many times, but hey, I was just like hearing it in my mind replaying itself. This is a really important tool that you need to have in your earthquake kit because it is a flashlight and it has a radio. And because it hand cranks, you're never going to have an issue with it not working. So it's important to have things that are hand crank. Okay. And then the other thing that this is not for earthquakes, but, I woke up and of course, like my adrenaline shot through my body and when it stopped, I waited. I was listening to hear if either of my girls woke up. I didn't hear anything. There were no sounds. My dog went back to sleep. I realized it was just like, I always worry, like, is it a foreshock? Are we going to have a bigger one that's going to follow? So I'm kind of on edge for like 3 to 5 minutes. But then I realized, I was like, okay, I think we're done. And so then I had all of this adrenaline coursing through my body and I was stressed out. Oh, thank you. I was just given this. Oh, okay, I'll share that in a moment. I had all this adrenaline coursing through my body and I was like needing to relax. So what do I do when I need to relax? If you've watched this show and you know me, you know that I love my Kindle and that I love to read. So I pulled out my Kindle and I also have one of these, this Naipo Shiatsu massager, which we have it here in the studio. But do you want to know why we have it in the studio? Because I told my producer about it because I love it so much. So I also have one sitting by my bed. So after the earthquake, I put it behind my back like this. And I was sitting with my Kindle like this. And it was lovely. Wait, okay. Oh, maybe I'll just sit here and do this with you guys. How would you feel about that if you came on to check out the show and I was just sitting here reading and giving myself a massage? Would you be jealous or would you be annoyed? So anyways, so that's what I was doing following the earthquake, trying to bring down my own mental state and trying to calm myself down and lower the adrenaline so that I could go back to sleep. And then as it turned out, I got a text from my older daughter who said to me,
Computer is out. You unplug the HDMI cord, plug it in, take it. You must have loosened it.
this one?
Yeah,
Where is it?
it's right there. Your hand's on it.
This one?
Unplug it and plug it back.
Got it.
Well, let's see if it turns back on.
Got it.
You might have to take it out.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Just switch back.
Awesome. Perfect. Good to go. Okay. So sorry, minor technical difficulty, but we're all good to go. So yeah. So anyways, I finally like calmed down. I thought, both of my dogs were sleeping. My girls were sleeping. No, I got a text from my daughter, my older one, who said, "Are you awake?" And I responded and I said, "Yes. Are you okay?" And she said, "Why didn't you come in?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Oh, no, that's not true. She said, "Did you feel the earthquake?" And I said, "Yes." And she said in all caps, "Why didn't you come check on me?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. And I said, "Because you didn't call for me." So I then left my bed, went to my daughter's room to make sure she was okay. She, like me, her adrenaline was coursing through her body and she was worked up. So I sat there and we just talked and laughed for a couple minutes. And then I left her. She went back to bed. I got back in my bed and I went back to reading and I went back to my massage and I was not able to get back to sleep. So yesterday I was up at like 4:45 for the day, which also, if you know me and you have watched the show and spent any time at all with me, you know that despite the fact that I am on in the morning with you all, I am not a morning person. In fact, so much so that often I am up into the wee hours of the morning, like up from the day, because I don't go to bed until 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. And will typically then when I do fall asleep, I'll wake up usually around like 8 or 9 in the morning. And so obviously I don't do that the days that I come here, but yesterday was not a day that I was here. And so I was up for the day at 4:45 and oh my God, I was so tired. So last night I went to bed, and I know like a lot of you are going to be like, this is so late. Last night I went to bed at 12:30, which for me was so early. It was so early that this morning I was up at 6:45 because my body was like, that's all the sleep you need. I didn't even have to wait for my alarm. Normally my alarm wakes me up and I have to I don't have to, but I hit the snooze button. I'm not ready to get up, etc. But no, this morning, because I went to bed so early, because the previous day we had the earthquake. So, and then this was the other thing that my producer that is also on our earthquake page, I'll just share this with you as well. This is the Gear Light. So this is an awesome, great flashlight. In fact, I wonder if I can take it out. Oh no, it's closed. Is it okay if I open it? Okay. Just checking with my producer to make sure it's okay, because I want to share this with you because it's so cool. I have this at home and I love this, and I'm going to show you why I love it. Oh, this is a set of 2. How do you like them apples? I didn't know that. Okay, look at how compact this is. Yet it does expand a little bit, okay? It doesn't have the batteries in it, so I can't show you at the moment. Maybe in my next show I'll show you. But it is so bright. It is so little and so bright. Usually, and look, it has this cute little case that you can store it in. I'm just looking here. So I was looking to see if it says what the lumens are on here. I don't see. S1, is it 1000? Because I'm like that total nerd that actually does look at the lumens to see how bright something is. It doesn't say. How is that possible? I don't know. Well, whatever. It's very bright. So, but what I love about it is that because it's hard to, I hope you can see this. Can you see how it zooms? Now, I know that doesn't seem like a big zoom at all, but basically it does really focus the light in onto something. So it's a really great flashlight to have because it's incredibly bright, and it makes the, it makes either you can have the beam be really wide or be narrower to focus in on something. So it's great for if you have to go outside in the dark and turn your power off, or if you're looking under your sink at a pipe or anything. I mean, obviously this is a great flashlight just to have around, but you know, if you have a dedicated earthquake kit, it's small, it's very transportable, easy to use, and I love this flashlight. It's a really, really great, compact and multifunctional flashlight. So, and then some of the other things that we have in our earthquake, let's see. I was just there. What happened to it? There we go. Okay. Some of the other things that we have on the earthquake page, if you need, to really prepare, if you don't have bye Trey, it was great to have you here with me today. Have a great day. Come back and hang out with us on Friday morning. Jed will be here with me. We'll be co-hosting The Art of Parenting, and it's always funny and always a little different when Jed is here. So I think that will be really fun. I'm just moving the shiatsu massager. There we go. Okay. So anyway, if you are needing to build up, create, make an earthquake kit, you gotta have one. If you live in a state where you have earthquakes, it is a crime not to have your own earthquake kit in your home. And look, you can make an activity out of it with your kids. If you need to know what should go into an earthquake, if you find me either on Instagram, or you can on Facebook, or on any of my social media, I'm at Intuit Parenting, INTUIT Parenting. And you can let me know that you want that information. And I have a whole checklist that I've put together of things that need to be in an earthquake kit. And it's really, really important to have your own earthquake kit. So I would be happy and more than thrilled to share that with you. So if that's something that you are interested in, find me, slide into my DMs, let me know that you would like that, and I will get that to you. And there's no charge for that. I give that away for free, because everyone should be prepared. Okay. So, like I said, I know I transitioned from talking about fun to talking about an earthquake, but I did that because that's something that happened here and it woke me up, and we're all okay, thankfully. Everyone is fine. It was fairly small on the earthquake scale as far as how it could have been, but nonetheless, it woke me up. And anytime something like that happens, it just kind of makes you think, like, am I prepared? Do I have everything that I need? And it did actually cause me to go down and check my earthquake kit. I pulled it out of the closet where I keep it, and I looked to make sure that everything that I would need would be there, and to make sure that the packaged food and those things, that they're not out of date, etc. Because those things, there are things in there that need to be updated. Like, for example, we don't even think about this, but I have closed-toed shoes for each member of my family in the earthquake kit. Well, the last time that I had put them in there, it was like a year and a half ago. Well, guess what? My girls' feet have grown in the last year and a half. So while mine haven't, and the shoes, my tennis shoes that are in there for me are still fine, the shoes that I had for my kids were not. So I updated them, and I took, they each had like an old pair of tennis shoes that they don't wear a lot anymore, and I threw them in there. So easy peasy done. Now it's totally updated. Hopefully, hopefully we will not have any more earthquakes anytime soon. But if we do, I can honestly say, I can rest assured knowing that I'm prepped and ready to go in the event of an earthquake. And that is something that makes me, it's like one thing off my checklist that I can say is done. I don't have to think about. And as a result of that, as a result of not having to think about it, I can then focus on my kids and focus on having fun and focus on being present and being in the moment and enjoying them, just enjoying my kids and bringing fun into our home. And I was just sitting here thinking, you know, what am I going to do today? Because as I was saying, my goal for you is for all of the parents out there to really try to bring some fun into your home every day. And listen, I preach it, I teach it, I have to do it as well, right? So I was literally just sitting here thinking, what could I do today that could be fun with my kids? Well, it's a beautiful day here, and so I think we are probably going to go for a bike ride. I think that will be really fun. I think we're going to do something outside, and I'm really excited about that. So we're going to end the show, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you bring some fun into your home. I'm going to be back here Friday morning. I hope you'll join me, and you can tell me what fun did you bring into your home? What did you do that was really fun? And stand by for one moment.
Stand by the end.
Oh, stand by for the end. Yes. So am I not? You're going to... Okay. So thank you so much again. I will be back Friday morning on The Art of Parenting. Jed will be co-hosting with me. I really hope that you will join me Friday, 9 a.m. Take care, and don't forget to sway.
Make sure you guys follow Sway TV. Follow Sway right here. Ooh, it's this way, sorry. Corey says, thank you, Sway TV. Shakira says, thank you, Sway. Yes, guys, it is so much fun. We love Sway TV.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Enjoy the rest of your day and have a Tambay party.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Amazon Live! Woo!
Such a great time with all of you.
Shop-attainment all the time.
We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway. Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway, stay tuned! Woo!